My brother, who owns a hotel in Miami, called me at work. Your wife is in my hotel. She just checked in with another man. Come over now. I said, you know my wife died 2 years ago. That's not possible. He just repeated, please come now. When I arrived and walked into the hotel, I froze. Sitting there was. Tuesday mornings in Chicago usually smell like burnt espresso and ambition. My office on the 42nd floor of Dillard Developments had both. Sunlight bounced off the blueprints spread across my desk. Our latest project, a sleek glass tower in River North, a monument to expensive taste and zoning nightmares. I was halfway through arguing with myself over whether marble lobbies were outdated when my phone buzzed. Caller ID Leo, my younger brother, the family's smooth-talking hotel tycoon, the man who once hosted a bachelor party that made TMZ and our mother's blood pressure spike in the same week. I picked up, already bracing for something ridiculous. If you're calling about another networking opportunity that involves champagne and people named Skylar, I'm hanging up. Marcus, Leo said, his voice wrong. Tight. No jokes, no Miami charm. You need to listen to me. Your wife is in my hotel. That pulled me out of my sarcastic autopilot. Come again. She just checked in. With another man. I actually laughed. Out loud. You need more sleep, Leo? My wife's been dead for 2 years. Silence. Long, heavy silence. The kind you only hear right before your world flips inside out. Then he said, low and certain, please come now. That tone, he only used it when something was real. Like the night Dad's heart attack hit, or when his first hotel caught fire and he watched it burn from the sidewalk. Leo didn't panic easily, which meant I should. I stared out the window at the city skyline, the jagged gray teeth of Chicago biting into the morning haze, and felt my chest tighten. I buried Rachel. I saw her casket go into the ground. The priest said the words, the dirt hit the wood. The rain fell exactly like in bad movies. I'd spent 2 years rebuilding, or pretending to. Relearning how to breathe, without her perfume haunting the air. Relearning how to smile at investors without my voice shaking. But Leo didn't do hallucinations. If he said she was alive, she was alive. Within an hour, I was in the back of a black SUV heading to O'Hare. My assistant, Molly, tried to hand me files for the upcoming investor call. I waved her off. Reschedule it. Sir, it's the Wexler deal. Then reschedule the Wexlers too. If they don't like it, tell them my dead wife's back from the afterlife and she outranks them. She blinked. I didn't care. I boarded that flight to Miami like a man walking into a sequel he never agreed to. The turbulence didn't bother me. The idea of seeing Rachel again, that did. I kept remembering the way she smiled the morning of her accident. She'd kissed me goodbye at our penthouse door, wearing my shirt, hair still messy from the night before. Said she was going to meet her mother for brunch. Then, 5 hours later, the call came. Car crash on Lakeshore Drive. Instant death. The money, though, that was a twist even grief couldn't ignore. We'd just sold our company, Ardent Systems, a tech consulting firm that made AI software for supply chains. The deal closed for $710 million. Half went to her. She'd insisted on moving her share to a private crypto wallet for tax optimization. The kind of phrase only rich people and liars use. I trusted her. We'd been married 10 years, and she'd stuck with me through ramen dinners and investor rejections. I thought that meant something. When she died, that wallet went dark. $355 million vanished with her. I didn't fight it. The police said the car was unrecognizable. The crash caused an explosion. The forensics confirmed her DNA. The tabloids called it the tragic end of the tech couple. I called it Tuesday. Now, staring out the window of that plane as Miami's shoreline came into view, I wasn't sure if I was flying toward closure or an aneurysm. Leo's driver met me at the airport. Mr. Dillard, your brother's waiting at Riviera Grand. Of course he was. The Riviera Grand was Leo's crown jewel, a beachfront hotel so luxurious it made billionaires feel poor. Guests arrived in Lamborghinis and left in scandals. When I walked through those glass doors, every staff member straightened like I was royalty. Leo appeared from behind the front desk, wearing his usual white linen shirt and a look that screamed, brace yourself. She's in the Ocean View Lounge, he said quietly. Suite 809. Checked in yesterday under the name Clara Evans. Who's the guy? Don't know. Early 40s. Looks like he gets paid to frown attractively. Great. A model or a mortgage broker. Leo frowned. Marcus, before you go up there. But I was already walking. My legs moved before my brain could process. The elevator ride felt like a countdown. By the time the doors opened on the 8th floor, my pulse was a bass drum. The lounge was dim, scented with vanilla candles and overpriced secrets. I saw her before she saw me. Rachel. Her hair was the same chestnut brown I used to twirl between my fingers while she worked late on the couch. The same graceful posture. Same laugh. Light, musical, and infuriatingly familiar. She wore a silk dress that caught the light like water. And around her neck, my stomach dropped. The diamond pendant. The one I'd buried her with. Across from her sat a man with perfect posture and the jawline of someone who thought mirrors were spiritual tools. He leaned closer, whispering something that made her laugh. Then she turned her head. Her eyes met mine. Everything froze. The champagne glass slipped from her hand, shattering against the marble floor like punctuation at the end of a bad joke. For a second, the whole room blurred. My heartbeat drowned out the music, the chatter, the sound of Leo's distant footsteps behind me. She looked at me like I was a ghost. And hell, maybe I was. I walked closer, every step echoing like thunder in my skull. My throat felt raw. The words didn't come out. They just escaped. Rachel. Her lips trembled. No denial. No, you're mistaken. Just that single tear sliding down her cheek, followed by the smallest whisper. Marcus. That voice, soft, apologetic, soaked in memories. I dreamed of it, cursed it, buried it. And now it was alive. I should have felt joy, relief, anything. But all I felt was fury clawing at my chest. Fury at being made a fool. Fury at losing years to grief while she sipped champagne in Miami. Fury that the love of my life had become the best con artist I'd ever met. The man beside her stood, confusion and arrogance blending perfectly. Who the hell are you? But I didn't answer him yet. I just looked at Rachel, the woman who died, resurrected, and somehow managed to shatter my sanity twice in one lifetime. Her eyes pleaded. Mine didn't. Surprise. I finally said, voice dripping with venom. Didn't expect your husband to RSVP from the afterlife, huh? The room tilted, the air went thin, and before anyone could blink, she fainted. Leo grabbed my arm. Marcus, not here. Come with me. I didn't move right away. My eyes stayed on the broken glass glinting on the floor, the same way my life had glinted before it cracked. In that moment, one thought burned brighter than anything else. If Rachel Harper Dillard had faked her death, she was about to wish she hadn't. If you ever find yourself discovering that you're late, wife has been enjoying room service mimosas under a fake name at your brother's 5-star hotel, here's some advice. Don't start yelling in the lobby. Apparently that upsets the guests. Leo practically tackled me before I could finish saying, what the hell is going on here? He dragged me through the Riviera Grand's marble hallway like I was a celebrity avoiding paparazzi. We passed 2 honeymooners, 3 influencers, and 1 confused bellhop who definitely filmed us for TikTok. Great. My humiliation was about to trend under #ZombieWifeDrama. In his office, Leo slammed the door and locked it. Marcus breathed. I glared at him. You saw her. Tell me that wasn't Rachel. He rubbed his temples. It was her, man. Same eyes, same everything. But she's registered as Clara Evans. Check-in yesterday. Paid in cash. No ID. He turned his tablet around. There she was on the screen, her photo from the lobby cameras. Rachel Dillard. The woman I buried, apparently now thriving on continental breakfast and betrayal. Suite 809, Leo said quietly. For a minute, I just stared at that image. My brain did the math and refused the answer. My wife had been declared legally dead, mourned by hundreds, and eulogized by a priest who couldn't pronounce her maiden name. And yet, here she was, using hotel Wi-Fi strong enough to resurrect marriages. Okay, I said finally. We've got 3 options. 1. Call the cops. 2. Pretend I'm hallucinating. Or 3. I stood. Go say hello. Leo groaned. You're going to storm her suite? Storm? No. I'm going to visit my resurrected wife like a civilized ghost. Marcus, you could wait. But I was already out the door. When your dead spouse checks into your brother's hotel, there's no waiting period. The elevator ride up to 8 felt like standing in purgatory with smooth jazz. I could see my reflection in the mirrored walls, expensive suit, tie crooked, eyes full of a kind of anger that smelled like déjà vu. My heartbeat was louder than the music. Suite 809's door was slightly open. I didn't knock. Ghosts don't need invitations. She was sitting on the couch, hair down, wearing a silk robe the color of guilt. Across from her stood a man who looked like a Calvin Klein ad that had been granted a gym membership for life. Tall, muscular, the kind of guy who pronounces protein like a religion. Rachel looked up and gasped. Not the casual kind. The kind where your soul tries to exit through your mouth. Marcus, she whispered. I leaned on the doorframe, my voice calm but lethal. Close. Just the husband you forgot to tell you were undead. The guy stepped forward, puffing his chest. Who are you? I'm the late husband, I said, smiling. We met at the wedding. I gave a great speech. His eyebrows knitted. You're lying. Rachel said her husband died in a plane crash. Funny, I said. That's what she told me too. Rachel's hands trembled. She clutched the robe tighter. Marcus, please, let me explain. Oh, I can't wait for this. Because the usual explanations don't cover oops, forgot to stay dead. She started crying. Not the ugly kind. No, Rachel was too trained for that. Perfect, delicate tears rolling down cheeks that still looked like betrayal wrapped in skincare. I did it to protect you, she said. You were in danger. I laughed. Couldn't help it. From what, Rachel? Vitamin D deficiency. Her voice cracked. From my family. Ah, the Harpers. A clan of people who made rich and dysfunctional look like an art form. Patricia Harper, her mother, could manipulate sympathy like a stock price. Her brother Lance once faked an MBA because he thought the diploma looked good on Tinder. And Gerald Harper, the father, retired financial advisor, professional guilt trip artist. I crossed my arms. Your family? The same family that couldn't manage a lemonade stand without insider trading. She wiped her tears. They made me do it. The crash, the funeral, everything. They said you were next, that they'd come after you for the money. I had to disappear. I snorted. And the new boyfriend? Is he part of the protection plan, or just cardio? Jim King glared. Watch it. I turned to him, smiling. Buddy, unless you own a shovel and a priest, stay out of this. Rachel stepped between us, palms up. Stop it. Marcus, please, just listen. I did. Against every shred of logic screaming at me, I listened. She told me her family staged the whole thing after we sold the company. They convinced her to fake her death, move the $355 million into a series of crypto wallets, and lay low until the heat died down. Then they divide it and bring her back quietly. Except, according to her, they double-crossed her too. No money, no freedom, no control. Just fake IDs, a forged death certificate, and a promise they never intended to keep. I sank into the armchair across from her. Let me get this straight. You faked your death, stole our fortune, got scammed by your own family, and now you're sipping Dom Perignon in Miami with Mr. Gluten-Free. He's not my yoga instructor, she said defensively. I stared at him. Really? Because her posture improved since the funeral. He scowled. You're an asshole. Maybe, I said, but at least I'm a living one. Leo's voice crackled through my phone. I'd left it recording. You good, man? I muttered, define good. Then, louder. Rachel, give me one reason not to call the cops. She looked desperate. Because if you do, they'll find me first. They're dangerous, Marcus. My brother's been threatening Mom for weeks, demanding his cut. He said he'd expose everything. And I'm supposed to believe you now? Please, she whispered. You have to. The thing is, I wanted to hate her. I should have hated her. But seeing her there, alive, terrified, human, it scrambled every rational thought I had left. I ran a hand through my hair. You faked your death, Rachel. You buried me with you. I know. Her lip quivered. I didn't have a choice. There it was, the same line every liar uses when the truth finally corners them. But something in her tone wasn't rehearsed. It was raw. Fear real, eyes tired. Where's the money now? I asked. I don't know. Lance moved it after the sale. He said it was safer if I didn't know. But now he's trying to blackmail Mom for his share. She told him she'd handle the loose ends. Marcus, that means me. I couldn't stay hidden anymore. I stood, pacing. So what? You show up at my brother's hotel, under a fake name, hoping I'd what? Run into you by accident. She swallowed hard. No. I came here to warn you. Lance said they'd come after you next. You're the last connection to the money. I stared out the window. Miami's ocean shimmered like it was mocking me. You know what the worst part is? I said softly. You're the only person I ever trusted with everything. My love, my life, my business. And you turned all three into a crime scene. She whispered, I never meant to hurt you. Yeah, well, congratulations. Intent doesn't change impact. Jim Kin finally spoke again, voice sharp. She doesn't have to take this. We're leaving. I turned slowly, smiling cold. Oh, you're leaving, all right. Just not with her. Marcus. Rachel started, but I raised a hand. Don't. Just don't. I looked at the guy. You know what I see when I look at you? A rebound that didn't read the fine print. She's not who you think she is. Hell, I'm not even sure I know who she is anymore. The guy took a step closer. Big mistake. I'd spent 2 years channeling grief into gym therapy and anger management podcasts. One sharp move from me, and he realized sarcasm wasn't my only skill set. Try me, I said quietly. He backed off. Rachel stepped forward, tears glistening. Please, Marcus. I need your help. I can't do this alone. You mean you need me to clean up the mess you left after robbing me blind? She shook her head. No, I need you because you're the only one smart enough to beat them. They won't stop until they have everything. I studied her face, the same one I once kissed goodnight, now pleading for mercy. My instinct screamed walk away, but my gut whispered something else. She's telling the truth. I sighed. Fine. You want protection? You'll get it. But until I decide otherwise, you don't leave my sight. Her eyes widened. What does that mean? It means you're coming with me. She hesitated, then nodded. Where? Leo's penthouse. Cameras, security, no chance of your family playing weekend at Bernie's again. I grabbed her hotel key card off the table. And you, I said to Jim Kin, might want to find a new client. Preferably one who's still alive. He looked confused. Client? Rachel muttered. He's my bodyguard. I blinked. You have a bodyguard? She gave a weak smile. Well, technically had. I turned toward the door. Great. I'm sure the next guy she hires will get a nice severance package, maybe even a funeral. Outside, Leo was pacing. Please tell me you didn't punch anyone. Not yet, I said. But give it time. He handed me his spare keycard. Take her upstairs. I'll clear the cameras. And Marcus, don't kill her until we know why she's back. Can't promise anything, I muttered. When we reached the penthouse, Rachel sat on the sofa, silent, staring out at the Miami skyline. For the first time since she died, she looked small, human, fragile. I poured 2 glasses of scotch and set one in front of her. You've got 5 minutes before I stop being civil. Start talking. She took a sip, eyes wet. They planned everything down to the second. My mother's idea, Patricia said we'd start fresh, somewhere tropical after transferring the funds. But when the wallets filled, they vanished. I was locked in a safe house for 6 months, told I'd ruin everything if I reached out. When Lance threatened to go public, Mom panicked. That's when I ran. I thought I could disappear forever. And yet, here you are, I said, booking suites like it's girls' weekend. I had nowhere else to go. Well, I said, finishing my drink, congratulations. You just turned my Tuesday into a Quentin Tarantino remake. She smiled weakly. You always did joke when you were scared. Yeah, I said. And you always disappeared when you were guilty. Silence stretched between us. The city glittered below like it was eavesdropping. Finally, I stood. You'll stay here tonight. Leo's guards will watch the doors. Tomorrow, we figure out what game your family's playing, and how to end it. Rachel nodded slowly. Marcus, thank you. Don't. I turned toward the balcony. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it because if anyone's going to finish this mess, it's going to be me. Outside, the Miami breeze hit my face, warm and salty. Somewhere down there, Patricia Harper was probably sipping champagne and counting my stolen millions. That was fine, because the next call she got wouldn't be from her daughter. It would be from me. You ever sit in a car with someone who faked their death, stole your fortune, and still somehow expects you to drive? Yeah, that was my Tuesday night. Rachel sat beside me in the passenger seat, quiet, hands folded like a child caught sneaking out. I, on the other hand, was gripping the steering wheel hard enough to leave fingerprints on it forever. Miami skyline glittered outside the window, pretty, expensive, and completely fake. Just like her funeral. Marcus, she said softly, breaking the silence. Where are we going? Someplace quiet, I replied. Where I can yell without getting banned from my brother's hotel. She didn't argue. Probably smart. I pulled into a pier parking lot overlooking Biscayne Bay. The ocean was calm, which felt like an insult given the storm in my head. I turned off the engine and finally faced her. Start talking. Rachel looked out at the dark water like it might give her courage. You wouldn't believe me. I laughed, humorless. Rachel, I've already seen you rise from the dead. At this point, you could tell me you were recruited by the CIA, and I'd ask which branch. She exhaled shakily. Okay, fine. It started right after the company's sale. I leaned back, crossing my arms, every muscle tight. Mom, she continued, said we needed to move the money quickly before it became a tax target. She introduced me to a financial consultant in her circle, someone who specialized in crypto. I didn't want to hide anything from you, but she made it sound like protection. Said there were people who'd do anything to get that kind of money. Like your family? I asked. She flinched but nodded. Yes, that consultant set up a multi-wallet transfer system, split the $355 million across several cold wallets. I memorized the seed phrase, but I didn't realize they had access to. Of course they did. The Harpers never saw money they didn't think belonged to them. Then came the accident, I said slowly. She nodded, eyes glassy. Mom said we had to make it believable. Lance knew a stunt coordinator who could fake a crash. He found a wrecked car the same model as mine, bribed some officials, even staged photos of the scene. The body wasn't me. They paid an addict for dental work to match mine. Her voice cracked. They burned her in the car, Marcus. And then they made me watch from a distance. I stared at her. My stomach turned. You're telling me your family murdered someone to fake your death? Tears welled up. She was already dying, she whispered. Cancer. They told me it was mercy. I was terrified. I thought if I didn't go along, they'd kill you instead. So I ran. I disappeared. They promised they'd keep you safe if I stayed gone. I slammed my palm against the steering wheel. And you believed them? What choice did I have? She shot back. You think I wanted to live like a ghost? Every day, looking over my shoulder, praying not to be found. Her voice cracked halfway between guilt and desperation. I wanted to stay angry. Hell, I should have stayed angry. But I could see the truth in her shaking hands, the haunted look in her eyes. Whatever she'd done, she hadn't enjoyed it. Still, compassion and forgiveness were two different currencies, and I was bankrupt on the second. So where's the money now? I asked, tone flat. She swallowed. They told me they moved it offshore, to an account managed by Mom. But when I tried to access it months later, everything was gone. Every wallet, every transfer, erased. Lance said Mom froze him out too. Now he's threatening her. I rubbed my forehead. You mean to tell me you faked your death, committed financial fraud, got double-crossed by your family, and now you're here because the thieves are fighting over the loot? Rachel sniffled. Basically. Jesus. I let out a bitter laugh. You couldn't just cheat on me like a normal spouse? She didn't respond. Instead, she reached into her purse and handed me something small, metal, rectangular, engraved. A USB drive. What's this? The backup key to the original wallet, she said quietly. I made it before everything went wrong. I thought if something ever happened to me, you'd find it. But I never got the chance to tell you. I turned the drive in my hand, staring at the tiny object that might hold $355 million, or nothing. My heart raced. You kept this the whole time? She nodded. It's encrypted, but if anyone can unlock it, it's you. I slipped it into my jacket pocket. Great. My dead wife brought me a treasure map. This week keeps getting better. For a while, we just sat there in silence, the ocean wind whipping through the cracked windows. The waves sounded too calm for what I was feeling. Finally, she said softly, You don't believe me. I looked at her. I believe you faked your death. I believe your family's garbage. But I don't know if I believe you're innocent. You disappeared with my money, Rachel. You let me bury you. You let me go insane thinking I killed you somehow. Her lip quivered. I didn't know how to fix it. Every time I tried to contact you, they intercepted me. I thought I'd get you killed. Then why now? I demanded. Why reappear? Because Lance told me last week he was done playing nice. He said he'd leak everything, including my real location, unless Mom paid up. And she said she'd tie up loose ends. I stared at her. Loose ends meaning you? She nodded, eyes wide with fear. Yes, and maybe you. They think you still have the original access key. I smirked. I didn't even have Wi-Fi for 2 years after you died. The only thing I had was therapy bills. That earned a shaky laugh from her. which somehow made me angrier. You think this is funny? I snapped. You think your family stealing our fortune and using a corpse as a decoy is just another Harper family brunch topic? She looked down, voice barely audible. I don't know what to think anymore. The honesty in her tone hit me harder than I expected. For the first time, I saw her not as the woman who destroyed my life, but as someone trapped in a nightmare of her own making. But I still wasn't ready to let go of my rage. You know what's wild? I said, starting the car again. You spent all this time pretending to be dead, but I'm the one who stopped living. Her eyes filled with tears again. Marcus, save it. We're done talking for tonight. I drove her back to Leo's penthouse, silence heavy between us. When we pulled up, Leo was waiting by the entrance, coffee in one hand, curiosity in the other. He took one look at Rachel and whistled. Damn, you weren't kidding. Yeah, I muttered. She's got a better resurrection story than Jesus. Rachel shot him a glare. I didn't ask to come back. Leo raised an eyebrow. You faked your death, sweetheart. Pretty sure asking stopped being your strong suit. Leo, I warned, not now. He held up his hands. All right. You want me to post guards tonight? Yeah, full coverage. Anyone suspicious near the building, call me. Rachel stepped out, and for a moment, she looked at the Miami skyline like it was the edge of freedom she'd never get back. Leo leaned closer to me as we walked in. You buying any of this? I'm buying just enough to keep her alive until I find the truth. In the penthouse, Rachel went straight to the balcony, hugging herself. I poured a drink, because nothing says emotional clarity like 18-year-old scotch, and watched her silhouette against the city lights. Why here, Rachel? I asked quietly. Out of every hotel in Miami, why my brother's? She turned. Because I knew you'd find me here. Leo's place was always your escape. I thought maybe it still would be. I stared at her for a long time. You're right, I said finally. This was my escape. Until tonight. Her voice broke. What are you going to do? What I do best, I said, finishing my drink. Solve problems that shouldn't exist. She frowned. You mean? I mean I'm going to find your family. And I'm going to take back every damn dollar they stole. Her eyes widened. Marcus, they'll kill you. I smiled thinly. They already tried, remember? Didn't stick. Leo appeared at the doorway, holding his phone. By the way, big bro, guess who just checked into a hotel 2 blocks from here? Don't say it, I muttered. Patricia Harper. Registered under Mrs. Gerald Hale. Fake name, same face. And she's got company. Rachel gasped. They found me. I set my glass down. No, Rachel. We found them. For the first time that night, the air shifted. The fear on her face turned into something else, hope. But for me, it wasn't about hope. It was about debt collection. Because while ghosts might not pay hotel bills, the living sure as hell do. And I was about to make sure the Harpers paid, with interest. Leo's penthouse felt like a bunker built by a man whose hobbies were martinis and surveillance. Cameras tucked into picture frames, a security panel that looked like it belonged in a mission control center, and a sofa so wide you could nap your way through an apocalypse. He poured us each a drink with the solemnity of a priest administering communion, if priests wore linen shirts and had trust funds. Rachel sat on the far end of the couch, like she was practicing social distancing from the truth. She kept folding and refolding her hands as if origami could fix moral bankruptcy. Leo set a plate of leftover caviar between us like a peace offering. I shoved it aside. Caviar felt inappropriate next to a confession. You sure this is the only safe place in Miami that doesn't have a bulletproof selfie booth? I asked. Leo rolled his eyes. Let's focus. What did you tell them? And whose bright idea was it to book under Clara Evans? Rachel blinked. Lance did the alias. Said it would be less traceable. Patricia handled the transfers. Patricia. The name landed in the room with the soft thud of a guillotine blade. She was everything the tabloids would invent if they could bottle manipulation and sell it in a designer vial. Think PDA president meets mafia accountant. Extra pearls, extra teeth. Lance was the kind of man who put aspiring before every noun in his LinkedIn bio. Gerald, their father, was a retired small-time financier who gave guilt lectures at brunch and passed the sympathy plate. You handled the transfers? I asked Rachel. You let them touch our money? They told me they were protecting it, she said. Her voice was small, like it had been shrunk by too many secrets. They called it a contingency plan. If anything happened to me, The money would be safe until they could bring it back. And what happens when the people protecting your money turn out to be the wolves in the suit? Leo asked. They lied, Rachel said. They said it would be temporary. But after the wallets were funded, I had no access. When I asked, they told me to wait. Wait for what? I was locked in a safe house for months. They said it was for my safety. Safe house, I repeated. That's hospitality without consent. She swallowed. They convinced me it was to protect you. That if I stayed hidden, Mom would keep you safe. But when Lance went rogue and started demanding a bigger cut, Mom panicked. She told Lance to lay low. He threatened to blow the whole thing up if she didn't give him his share. Patricia thought cleaning up would be cheaper. And by cleaning up she meant I didn't finish. I didn't want the image of Patricia with a cloth and a shovel in her hands. But the picture painted itself regardless. She meant me, Rachel whispered. Leo grunted. Classy. The more she talked, the more the picture took shape. Patricia as ringmaster, Lance as the idiot who thinks loyalty is a suggestion, Gerald as the sad moral backbone who reads ethical philosophy but forgets to apply it. It was painfully domestic, like a horror movie with a trust fund. You could have come to me, I said. You could have what? Sent a postcard from the Bahamas? Left a smoke signal? You think I didn't try? Her shoulders shook. Every attempt to contact you was intercepted. They gave me one burner phone a month and checked it. They told me if I tried to contact you directly, they'd tell you I was trying to extort you. Or worse, implicate you in tax fraud. They arranged fake documents, Marcus. They had people in place. I wanted to catalog every stupid move she made and paint them in capital letters, betrayal. But part of me, maybe the part that remembered her hands in mine when we closed deals, the part that knew her laugh before it left her throat, kept reaching for nuance. That tenderness sucked more oxygen out of my rage than I wanted to admit. So Lance goes rogue, I said. He tries to blackmail Patricia for his share. Patricia panics and tells him to handle the loose ends. He gets sloppy. He threatens to expose everything. You run. You show up here, of all places. That's the abridged Harper handbook. That's it, she said. Lance told Patricia if he didn't get his cut, he'd go public. He said he'd tell the press it was all you. Accusations, tax fraud, murder conspiracy. She panicked and talked about cleaning the problem. That's when I thought they were going to kill me. And you thought the best solution was to fake your death? Who advised this brilliant move? The family consigliera. I snapped. They advised me. Lance found a guy. Patricia found invoices. Gerald pretended he was ill and wrung his hands. They made it look real. She swallowed. They told me it was the only way to make you safe. You realize making me safe meant making me an orphan in reverse. I said, you took my chance to grieve honestly. She started shaking her head, tears collecting in a place that made me want to crack open a trash can of comforting lies. I didn't think I would miss you the way I did. I thought I could get away, start over. But then I found out they'd taken everything and kept the account secret from me. I tried to get money to start again. I asked Lance. He said everything was controlled by Mom. When he tried to get more, Mom locked him out. He panicked and threatened her. So Mom double-crossed her own son for a better portfolio? Leo mused. That's some next-level cold. Rachel bit her lip. She lies well. She looked at me. I didn't come back because I wanted your life. I came back because Lance said I was next. And you believe him? I asked. She looked me dead in the eye. I do. For a few minutes the television in the corner played a travelogue of the Amalfi Coast. We watched it like it was a documentary about a civilization that had never existed. None of it mattered. The thing that mattered was the Harper's family war, played out over offshore bank accounts and fake obituaries. You're saying your family faked your death and then decided you were expendable when the money got hot. I said, more to myself than to her. That's what happened, she whispered. I don't know what to do. I'm not safe. I came here because I knew Leo would help. And because I hoped you might also help. The sentence landed like a grenade with the pin pulled. Help. Not forgiveness. Not understanding. Help. That was the sacrificial, humiliating thing. Asking the man you wronged for salvage. You want my help? I said flatly. You want me to fix what you broke? She nodded. I can't do it without you. There it was again, her humility or her bargaining. The kind of statement that can be sincere and manipulative in the same breath. I could see the calculation in her eyes. Leverage my love, my grief, my rage, whichever tool was most likely to open the vault. I stood and paced. The penthouse felt smaller the more I visualized Patricia in her sarongs counting my money. I had two choices: walk away and let the Harpers eat their own, or dive in and make them regret the day they ever learned what greed tastes like when someone fights back. Fine, I said finally. We do this my way, and my way has 3 rules. She blinked. What rules? Rule 1, you stop lying to me. All of it. Full truth. No edits, no director's cut. I watched her face. She flinched, but nodded. Rule 2, you stay in protective custody. Leo's cameras will be on you. No solo rooftop yoga, understand? She gave a watery smile. I understand. Rule 3, you cooperate. We get proof. We don't star in another Harper family drama without receipts. If your brother has access to anything, we get forensic proof. If Patricia has villas in Dubai, we make a list and freeze them. And if you've got any tricks left, you hand them over. She swallowed. I have a backup drive. I made a copy of the seed phrase before I left. I kept it hidden. She reached into her bag and, with hands that trembled more from relief than fear, handed me a small metal drive. I only remembered where I put it last week. I took it, heavy as a relic. You realize this is basically the Rosetta Stone to our ruin or our salvation? She nodded. Good. Then we move tomorrow. I felt a cold steadiness settle into me, the kind that shows up after shock, redirect the energy into action. Lydia's the cyber expert I know. She'll help trace transfers. Leo will keep you safe. We'll bring in legal if we need to. But make no mistake, this will get ugly. Rachel's eyes filled with gratitude and fear, a cocktail I'd mixed before in less compromising settings. Thank you, she whispered. Don't say thank you yet, I said. Say I owe you nothing, and yet I'm doing this because I want the truth. Say that. She tried. I owe you nothing. I didn't believe her, but the words felt like a bandage on mine, and maybe that was enough for the moment. Later, alone on the balcony with a whiskey that tasted like it had seen worse nights, I thought about resurrection. Not the holy kind, the quiet, monstrous kind where people return and expect everything to be how it was. Resurrection with a price tag. Resurrection with strings. Rachel had come back asking for a favor. The Harpers had come back asking for a payout. And me? I was caught between 2 kinds of debt, the ledger of money and the ledger of a heart that still remembered the way she used to hum when she thought I was asleep. I looked over the city, lights winking like taunting eyes. If the Harpers wanted my money, they'd have to pry it from a friend who'd built an empire out of stubbornness and spite. If they wanted my silence, they'd better pack a bag. I wasn't cheap, and I was not silent. Resurrection, I decided, could wait. Collection wouldn't. The morning after Rachel's resurrection felt less like a new day and more like a corporate crisis meeting sponsored by Heartbreak. Leo's penthouse smelled like coffee, fear, and expensive regret. I hadn't slept. My brain had been stuck replaying Rachel's voice saying, "They took the money." It sounded less like confession and more like a badly written plot twist I couldn't rewrite. So when the clock hit 8 a.m., I did what any emotionally bankrupt man with too much money and a vendetta would do. I called Lydia Perez. Lydia wasn't your typical IT expert. She was a cyber forensics goddess with tattoos of binary code on her wrist and the patience of a caffeine addict who'd already had her morning fix. We met years ago when she accidentally hacked one of my subsidiary firms to prove their firewall sucked, she claimed, and I decided to hire her instead of suing her. She owed me a favor, and I intended to cash it in like a debt collector with a grudge. When she picked up, her tone was sharp, awake, and slightly irritated. Classic Lydia. Marcus, it's barely morning. What did you do now? Nothing illegal. Yet. That yet sounds expensive. I exhaled. I need you in Miami. I'm dealing with something complicated. Complicated like last time, when your CFO tried to launder funds through a charity for dolphins. Worse, I said. My dead wife isn't dead. Also, she might have stolen $355 million in crypto. Silence. Then a flat. I'm on the next flight. By noon, Lydia was in the penthouse, wearing black jeans, combat boots, and an expression that could cut steel. She dropped her laptop bag on the counter, glanced at Rachel, and muttered, "So you're the ghost bride. Cute necklace. You come with your own haunting music." Rachel looked like she wanted to crawl under a rug. I didn't intervene. Lydia thrived on discomfort. It kept people honest. "All right, Mr. Dillard," she said, spinning a chair around to face me. Tell me everything. Don't leave out the crazy parts. Those are usually the useful ones. So I did, from the fake crash to the stolen fortune to the offshore accounts. Lydia listened without interrupting, fingers tapping rhythmically on the table like she was coding in her head. When I mentioned the USB drive Rachel gave me, her eyes gleamed. You still have it? Right here, I said, pulling it from my jacket. She took it like it was a relic. If this thing holds even a fraction of that money, your wife's family is going to wish they'd taken up knitting instead of crime. Leo walked in carrying croissants and gossip. So this the hacker chick? Lydia didn't even look up. This the hotel guy who thinks a camera system counts as cybersecurity? Leo blinked. Okay, fair. Rachel sat quietly, wrapped in one of Leo's oversized hoodies, looking more like a witness than a suspect. I didn't feel sorry for her, but I also didn't feel the rage I expected. Maybe I was just too tired to hate efficiently. Lydia set up her laptop like a battlefield surgeon prepping for war. Cables, encryption tools, external SSDs, the works. Here's the deal, she said. Crypto moves leave traces. Ghost traces, but traces nonetheless. I can't open this wallet without triggering a security ping, so I'll mirror it first. English, Lydia, Leo said. She's cloning the data. I translated. Exactly. Once we have the clone, I'll trace wallet movements. Whoever moved that money left footprints, offshore or not. Rachel spoke up, hesitant. They said everything was untraceable. Lydia smirked. That's what amateurs say before I ruin their day. She typed fast, screens flashing code like digital lightning. Within minutes, lines of green text scrolled by, each one making my pulse quicken. Okay, she said. The good news, this wallet's real. It holds roughly 32 million. Bad news, it's only one of several. I'm picking up links to at least 6 wallets. Someone's been busy. Rachel covered her mouth. That's them. Mom wanted multiple fail-safes. Fail-safes or escape hatches. I muttered. Lydia ignored us. One wallet was last accessed from a server located in the Cayman Islands. Another's active right now. Someone's using funds to purchase property in Dubai. I'm seeing ledger activity consistent with large transfers. Leo whistled. Dubai? Of course it's Dubai. Rich people paradise for people allergic to accountability. Can you track who's spending it? I asked. Eventually. But to draw them out, we might need bait. Rachel frowned. Bait? Lydia turned her laptop so we could see a news article template on her screen. The headline read, Marcus Dillard recovers missing $355 million in lost crypto. Leo grinned. You're kidding. I'm not, Lydia said. We leaked this story through a few business blogs and social media channels. Nothing official, just enough to make it sound like insider news. Her family will panic. People who've stolen that kind of money don't like hearing the victims about to reclaim it. They'll make a move, probably contact you. Rachel paled. If Mom hears that, she'll lose her mind. That's the idea, Lydia said cheerfully. We make the spider leave the web. I stared at the fake article, adrenaline mixing with something darker, anticipation. Project Lazarus, I said aloud. That's what we'll call it. Leo nodded approvingly. Biblical. I like it. Rachel shook her head. You're playing with fire. I met her gaze. No, Rachel. I'm just returning the favor. By evening, the first leak was online. A small crypto blog out of Austin ran the headline, claiming exclusive insider info about Marcus Dillard recovering access to the infamous lost wallet. Lydia made sure it looked convincingly accidental, complete with fake screenshots of transaction confirmations. It didn't take long. 2 hours later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Don't answer, Lydia said, already tracing the call through her system. I did anyway. This is Marcus. A pause. Then a woman's voice, cold, composed, familiar. Marcus, darling. You sound well. My blood ran colder than the ice in my drink. Patricia Harper. Patricia, I said, voice like steel wrapped in politeness. Funny, I thought your family only called from the afterlife. She chuckled softly, fake warmth dripping like venom. Let's not be dramatic. We were all devastated when Rachel passed. I assume you've made peace. I assume you've made a fortune, I shot back. Her tone hardened. What are you implying? That I'm not as dead as your morals. Also, Rachel says hi. Silence. Just her breath, sharp, caught off guard. Then a click. Lydia grinned. Got her. Call traced to a secure line registered under an offshore entity. Guess where? Leo raised his hand. Dubai. Bingo. Rachel's hands shook. She's going to send someone. She doesn't let threats slide. I leaned back, letting the fury in me settle into something colder. Focus. Then we'll be ready. The next day, the Riviera Grande security team reported a black SUV circling the block near Leo's building. Twice. Same model used by Patricia's company back when she hosted those charity galas for orphans of finance. Her words, not mine. Leo texted, "They're here." I showed Rachel the message. She went pale. "Marcus, please, let's go to the police." "Not yet," I said. "Cops need proof. We need confession." Lydia smirked. "I love when you talk felonies with foreplay." That night, while Rachel tried to sleep, I sat in the living room with Lydia and Leo, sketching out the plan. They want me silenced, but they won't shoot me in public. They'll try to control the narrative. Patricia's too PR savvy for messy violence. Then we control the narrative first, Lydia said. We bait them again, make them think the money's already been withdrawn. Publicly, Leo snapped his fingers. Host a press event at the hotel. Something big. A charity gala. That's Patricia's weakness, publicity. She won't resist showing up. Lydia's eyes sparkled. The Harper family reunion. Invite her under a pretense she can't refuse. I grinned. Now we're talking. Rachel stirred at the doorway, looking at us like we were insane. You're planning a trap? Exactly, I said. A very elegant one. Don't worry, it comes with champagne. She stared at me, disbelief warring with fear. Marcus, you can't outsmart my mother. She's old, rich, and overconfident, I interrupted. My favorite kind of opponent. Lydia laughed. You two should have stayed married. The drama's great for engagement. Rachel shot her a glare. You're enjoying this. I enjoy justice, Lydia said. And caffeine. But mostly justice. We finalized the plan over strong espresso and pure spite. The next 72 hours would decide everything. Whether Patricia would crumble under her own lies, or whether Rachel's return from the dead would end with an encore performance in a body bag. As I watched the skyline light up over the Miami Ocean, I realized something. I wasn't just fighting to get my money back. I was fighting for closure, for control, for every version of myself that had been buried alongside Rachel's fake coffin. Marcus, Leo said softly, breaking my thoughts. You sure you're ready for this? I smirked. I've been ready since the day I wrote her eulogy. Lydia closed her laptop with a click that sounded like a starting gun. Then let's dig up some ghosts. Leo's hotel, the Riviera Grande, had seen its fair share of chaos, celebrity divorces, political scandals, even a bachelor party that ended with a missing tiger and 3 NDAs. But tonight was about to top all of that. Tonight wasn't just an event. It was a carefully staged ambush with champagne glasses. We called it the Harper family reunion. Invitation only. Black tie. Hosted by Marcus Dillard and the Riviera Grande. Theme: reconciliation and renewal. If you didn't know any better, you'd think we were gathering to hold hands and sing about healing. In reality, we were baiting billion-dollar snakes with shrimp cocktails. The ballroom looked immaculate. Marble floors gleaming, chandeliers dripping elegance, the string quartet rehearsing a song that would sound classy while someone got arrested. Lydia had disguised half the security team as waiters, each wearing a lapel mic and carrying an attitude that said, "Try me." The FBI agents we'd briefed were mixed into the crowd in tuxedos that probably made their government salaries cry. Leo stood at the bar, nursing a whiskey and grinning like a man who lived for chaos. You sure about this, bro? Last time you threw a party, someone faked their death. I adjusted my cufflinks, the same ones I'd worn at my wedding, because I'm sentimental like that. Yeah, well, this time someone might actually die for real. Progress. Rachel appeared a few minutes later, looking every bit the ghost turned human. Navy dress. Hair up, eyes sharp but terrified. She was the emotional grenade in our centerpiece display. She'd insisted on being there, said she needed to face them. Part guilt, part courage, part unfinished business. Lydia approached, tablet in hand, hair pulled into a no-nonsense ponytail that screamed tech dominatrix. Everything's live, she said. Audio surveillance online, cameras running, backup feeds secure. The feds are in the parking garage waiting for confirmation. Once they confess, we roll. Confess. Leo laughed. You're talking like we're priests. We're worse, I said. We have receipts. By 7 p.m., the guests of Dishonor arrived, the Harpers. Patricia Harper walked in first, dressed in white because irony doesn't die. Her pearls glistened under the lights like trophies from every ruined soul she'd collected. Her husband, Gerald, shuffled behind her, face pale, moral compass long broken. And then came Lance, the golden boy turned wannabe gangster, wearing a designer suit and sunglasses indoors, like someone who still quotes Wolf of Wall Street unironically. Their entrance could have used pyrotechnics and the theme song from Jaws. Rachel froze when she saw them. "Oh God," she whispered. I placed a steadying hand on her back. "Smile? You're at your own funeral sequel." Patricia's gaze swept the room until it landed on me. Her lips curved into that signature politician smile, the kind that said I could kill you and still make it look like charity. "Marcus," she purred, gliding over like royalty greeting the help. "You look well." I smiled back. "So do you. I see tax evasion agrees with your skin." Her eyes flicked to Rachel, and for the first time, that porcelain composure cracked. "Rachel." Rachel straightened, voice trembling but firm. "Hi, Mom." Patricia blinked, then laughed lightly. "My goodness, darling. You've been through so much. That accident." She dabbed her eyes with a napkin that probably cost more than my first car. "We all mourned you." Lydia muttered into her earpiece. Translation: "She's stalling." I crossed my arms. "Cut the act, Patricia. You can drop the maternal concern. I already told you on the phone. Rachel's alive. The money trail's real, and the feds are listening." Patricia's face hardened. The mask slipped just enough for me to see the serpent underneath. "Marcus, I don't know what you think you're playing at, but you're making a grave mistake." "Grave mistake," I said. "Nice pun." Lance stepped forward, puffed up like a gym bro at a frat reunion. "You got no proof of anything." Lydia's voice came softly through my earpiece. "Wait for it." Rachel trembled. "You stole everything, Lance. You promised me Mom would give my share back. You lied." He scoffed. "You were never supposed to come back. You're the reason this all went sideways." The room went dead silent. Guests pretending not to eavesdrop froze mid-sip. That single sentence, caught clean by Lydia's mics, was the verbal nuke we needed. Patricia's face drained of color. "Lance, shut up." But Lance wasn't built for subtlety. "No, Mom. I'm done covering for you. You faked everything. You and Dad and your damn investors. I deserve my cut." "Keep going," Lydia whispered gleefully. "Dig deeper." I smiled. "So the $355 million. How much did you keep for yourself, Lance? Or did Mommy Dearest cut you off completely?" Lance's nostrils flared. "It's not all in one wallet," he yelled. "You'll never find it all." That was it. Confession on record. Lydia pressed one button on her tablet, transmitting the live feed to the FBI van outside. Seconds later, the ballroom doors burst open, and agents in suits swarmed in like a reality TV finale gone federal. "Patricia Harper, Lance Harper, Gerald Harper, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud, identity theft, and falsifying death records," an agent barked. The crowd gasped. The string quartet stopped mid-note. Someone dropped a champagne flute. Patricia's perfectly curated world shattered in front of 100 witnesses, reporters, donors, business partners. She tried to keep her voice steady. "Do you have any idea who I am?" "Yeah," the lead agent said. "A flight risk with an overdue moral audit." Gerald fainted into the buffet table. Lance tried to run, tripped over a saxophonist's mic stand, and face-planted into a tray of tiramisu. I had to admit, karma had impeccable comedic timing. Patricia screamed as they cuffed her, pearls snapping, scattering across the marble like spilled privilege. "You can't do this." "I have diplomatic immunity," the agent cut in. "Ma'am, this isn't Monopoly." Lydia whispered through a grin. "Best night ever." Rachel stood frozen beside me, tears streaming down her cheeks. Relief, shame, everything at once. I didn't think it would end like this. I looked at her, voice calm but sharp. I did. As the Harpers were escorted out, cameras flashed, reporters shouted, and Leo sidled up beside me. "You know, I should charge admission for this kind of drama. Dinner and an arrest." I smirked. "Throw in dessert, and you've got a franchise." Lydia joined us, phone buzzing with alerts. "It's already hitting the news." Headline: Tech Mobile's dead wife found alive in $355 million crypto sting. "You're trending on X, Marcus." People are calling you the real-life Batman. I groaned. Great. I always wanted to be rich and emotionally unstable. Leo laughed. 2 out of 2, brother. Rachel turned to me. You're not angry? Oh, I'm angry, I said. Just not at you right now. Anger's got a long waiting list. The FBI team finished sweeping the area, collecting evidence, hard drives, and half-eaten canapes. Patricia shot me a glare as they led her away, the kind of glare that promised revenge even through prison glass. Marcus, she hissed. You think this ends with me behind bars? You don't understand the people I work with. I stepped closer, just enough for her to see that the man she'd buried was very much alive. No, Patricia, you don't understand the people I own. She didn't have a comeback for that. Just a cold, venomous silence as the agents pulled her away. When the chaos finally settled, I stood alone in the middle of the ballroom, surrounded by shattered glass, half-eaten cake, and the remains of a decade-long deception. Rachel approached quietly, her heels clicking on marble like hesitant apologies. I never wanted it to get this far, she said. I didn't look at her. You faked your death, Rachel. Far was the first stop. I know, she whispered. But thank you for helping me end it. I turned, met her eyes. I didn't end it for you. I ended it for me. She nodded, understanding. Still, thank you. Lydia appeared with her tablet under her arm, smirking. Well, that was fun. So, Marcus, what do we call this operation? I vote for Project Family Therapy Gone Wrong. Leo chuckled. Nah, it's the resurrection scam. Sounds like a Netflix doc. I drained my drink and set it on the table. Call it what you want. Just make sure the headline says I got my money back. As the last of the guests filed out and the janitorial crew began sweeping away the pearls and broken glass, I caught my reflection in the ballroom mirror. The man staring back wasn't the grieving widower anymore. He was sharper, colder, alive in a way only revenge could resurrect. Leo clapped a hand on my shoulder. You good? I smirked faintly. Never better. Next time, he said, maybe we stick to brunches. Next time, I replied, let's just skip the family part. The Riviera Grand had officially survived its most dramatic night since the infamous Champagne and Chains bachelor party of 2019. The FBI had rolled out with the Harpers in handcuffs. The string quartet was traumatized, and I'd received a dozen texts from business partners asking if I was doing okay, which is rich coming from people who'd sell their own organs for a quarterly bonus. But the thing about chaos? It doesn't really end. It just changes clothes. By dawn, the headlines had turned the story into a digital circus. Tech Mobile's dead wife found alive. Family behind elaborate $355 million crypto scam. Every news outlet wanted an interview. TMZ even called Leo pretending to be my assistant. I turned off my phone after CNN tried to ask if Rachel and I were reuniting romantically after resurrection. America loves a love story, even the kind written by lunatics. Leo, on the other hand, was thriving. Bro, do you realize how many new bookings we got overnight? We're trending. #Hotel of Justice. I glared at him from across the penthouse breakfast table. Great. Maybe we can add a murder suite package. He grinned. Already trademarked. Rachel sat quietly, sipping her tea like it was penance. Her hair was pulled back, her eyes red but calmer now. She'd been up all night giving statements to federal agents. Lydia too, though Lydia seemed to enjoy it, like the world's most caffeinated detective. Speaking of, Lydia was pacing the room, tablet in hand, looking like a human firewall. So, I just finished combing through Patricia's laptop, she said. There's something you're going to want to see. Please tell me it's a confession video, I said. Better. It's a backup file of offshore transfers, 6 cold wallets, totaling about $290 million in recoverable assets. But here's the kicker. There's one more wallet that wasn't on any of the lists. It's ghosted, completely separate. Somebody else was moving money behind their backs. Rachel frowned. Someone else? Who? Lydia tapped her screen. We're working on that. The transfers link back to a hotel server. She looked up. This hotel. I blinked. You're saying the Riviera Grand system was used to move stolen funds? Leo froze mid-sip of his espresso. Hey, hold on. My hotel's clean. I run a legitimate operation. Sure, Lydia said. Except for that VIP suite on the 12th floor with the private server access. Someone used it to launder digital currency between Patricia's accounts and a new shell corporation. The name on the incorporation documents. She flipped the tablet toward me. Rachel Dillard Holdings, LLC. Rachel gasped. What? I didn't. I held up a hand. Relax. I know you didn't. You're too emotionally transparent to fake an LLC. Leo swore under his breath. Damn it, Marcus. That means someone's still inside my system. Or someone's trying to make it look like Rachel's still playing the game, Lydia said. Either way, they're not finished. And there it was. The chill that crawls up your spine when you realize you've just won the battle, but the war's checking its watch. By noon, the FBI had returned for a follow-up. Agent Davenport, the kind of man whose haircut had a security clearance, leaned against the counter with his notepad. We've frozen the major Harper assets. Most of your funds are recoverable, but the phantom account Lydia found complicates things. You're sure Rachel didn't set this up? Rachel bristled. No, I was in hiding, remember? I barely had Wi-Fi. He nodded slowly, clearly unconvinced. All right, we'll investigate the Shell Corp. In the meantime, stay put. It's possible someone else involved in the fraud is still at large. Translation, I muttered. You think there's another Harper out there who didn't get invited to the family arrest party? Davenport gave me a dry look. Just don't leave town. After he left, Lydia shut the penthouse door and turned to me. We've got a problem. I figured, I said. The last time you said that, I ended up fake burying my wife. She frowned. I mean it. The transactions from that ghost wallet didn't stop after Patricia's arrest. Somebody's been moving small amounts of crypto every few hours, probably testing if anyone's monitoring. Leo groaned. Please tell me this isn't another inside job. I can't afford another PR nightmare. Relax, I said. If it is, we'll find them before CNN does. That night, we set up surveillance again. Lydia turned Leo's control room into a hacker's command center. 6 monitors, thermal feeds, code running faster than my patience. Rachel dozed on the couch, exhaustion finally catching up. Around midnight, Lydia pointed to the screen. There, Suite 1203. Someone just accessed the network from the internal terminal. Leo leaned forward. That suite's been empty for days. Not anymore, Lydia said. We watched the feed. Grainy, black and white. A figure in a hoodie, typing on a laptop. Their face turned just enough for me to see the outline. Familiar. Too familiar. Lance, I breathed. Rachel jerked awake. What? That's impossible. He was arrested. Lydia zoomed in. Facial match 87%. He's not in custody. Leo cursed. You're telling me that idiot escaped federal custody and came back to my hotel? Looks like it, I said, standing. Guess the family reunion's not over. We took the service elevator. Me, Leo, and Lydia. Rachel stayed behind, per my very specific order not to move an inch. The air felt thick, electric. My heartbeat was a metronome of fury. When we reached the 12th floor, the hallway was quiet except for the hum of the AC and the soft ping of the elevator behind us. Lydia motioned toward the suite. Heat signature confirms someone's inside. Leo whispered, You sure you don't want to call security? I grinned. Nah, this is personal. I kicked the door open. Lance spun around, eyes wide, hands freezing over the keyboard. He looked rough, disheveled, panicked, like someone who'd run through hell and borrowed a hoodie from Satan's Lost and Found. Well, I said. Didn't expect to see you checking back in. Marcus, wait, he stammered, backing up. You don't understand. Oh, I understand plenty, I snapped. You faked your sister's death, stole my money, and now you're moonlighting as a hacker in my brother's hotel. That about cover it. He raised his hands. I didn't take the money. I was trying to move it back before Mom's people found out. Your mom's people? Patricia's in prison, Lance. He shook his head frantically. You don't get it. She wasn't the only one. There's someone else behind all of this, the consultant Mom hired. The guy who set up the offshore wallets. He's still out there. And he's cleaning house. Lydia narrowed her eyes. Name? I don't know his real one, Lance said. He called himself Voss. Ex-fintech guy. Said he could make any trace disappear. Mom hired him, but then she started taking orders from him. He's the one who told her to fake Rachel's death. I swear, I was just following orders. Congratulations, I said. That's what every criminal says right before they get new handcuffs. I moved closer, but Lydia held up a hand. Wait, he's right about one thing. I've seen that alias before. Voss, real name Samuel Vosser. He ran a laundering network through crypto exchanges in Singapore. He vanished 3 years ago. Perfect, Leo muttered. So now we're dealing with an international cybercriminal who uses my Wi-Fi. Lance gestured desperately toward the laptop. He's been sending messages. He wants the last wallet key. He said if I didn't deliver, he'd come after me. And Rachel. I paused. You mean the backup drive? Lance nodded. Yeah, that's what he's after. Lydia crossed her arms. Too bad for him. We already cloned it. Does he know that? I asked. Probably not, she said. Lance looked terrified. He has people everywhere. You don't understand how dangerous. The lights flickered. Once. Twice. Then the power cut out completely. Ah, hell, Leo muttered. Lydia's tablet glowed faintly. Backup generator's not kicking in. This isn't a blackout. It's a breach. Through the darkness, I heard footsteps. Not from the hallway. From the ventilation shaft above us. Lance whispered. He found us. Then, a crash. The sound of metal hitting marble. Sparks from the corridor lights as they flickered back to life, revealing a figure standing at the end of the hall. Tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in black. His face hidden beneath a mask, his voice distorted when he spoke. Marcus Dillard, he said calmly. You should have stayed buried with your wife. I stepped forward slowly, adrenaline humming in my veins. Sorry, Voss. I don't do burials twice. He raised a silenced pistol. Lydia cursed under her breath. Leo grabbed a fire extinguisher. I swear, my Yelp reviews are going to tank after this. And just like that, chaos again. Shots fired. Smoke. Alarms blaring. Lance dove under a table. Lydia dragged me behind the wall console, muttering. I told you we should have brought security. When the smoke cleared, Voss was gone. But his message wasn't. On the laptop screen, glowing in eerie green text, were the words. The key belongs to me. Tell Rachel I'll come collect. I stared at it, every muscle tense. The reunion had been hell, sure. But this was the sequel. And something told me Voss didn't do happy endings. When the Miami PD finally stopped treating Leo's hotel like a live-action CSI episode, the place smelled like gunpowder, burnt carpet, and regret. Guests were posting videos on TikTok captioned, Real shootout at Riviera Grande, face screaming in fear, fire hashtag only in Miami. Leo was threatening to sue half of social media for defamation and the other half for filming him in a bad angle. Meanwhile, the FBI turned the penthouse into a temporary command center. Laptops, headsets, agents who looked allergic to humor, all of it. Agent Davenport, our favorite haircut with a badge, was back, and this time he wasn't smiling. So let me get this straight, he said, scribbling in his notepad. A man named Samuel Voss, international cybercriminal, presumed dead, just waltzed into your brother's hotel, fired a gun, and left a threat message for your wife. Ex-wife? I corrected automatically. Rachel shot me a glare. Not the time. I shrugged. It's always the time for accuracy. Davenport sighed like a man whose coffee had been decaf for a decade. And he's after a wallet key? Yeah, I said. The same key holding what's left of $355 million that used to be mine. My condolences to my sanity. He jotted that down, probably under suspect uses sarcasm as coping mechanism. Lydia was pacing near the window, tablet in hand. We got lucky, Davenport. If Voss had aimed better, we'd be cleaning billionaires off the carpet. But the fact that he found us means he's got serious intel. Someone's feeding him from the inside. Inside the FBI? Leo asked, horrified. Or inside my hotel? Lydia smirked. Could be both. Don't flatter yourself. Davenport looked ready to throw himself into traffic. All right, we'll assign full protection detail to Ms. Dillard and sweep the premises again. Mr. Dillard, I suggest you stay somewhere secure. Like where? I asked. A monastery? I don't do well with quiet. I don't care, he said flatly. Just stay out of sight until we locate Voss. As he left, I turned to Leo. You still have that private suite on the top floor? The one with the soundproof windows. Leo frowned. You mean the Panic Suite? Yeah, but it's usually for celebrities hiding from scandal. Perfect, I said, because this one's about to trend worldwide. By that night, the hotel was quieter, but my head wasn't. The events replayed in loops. Rachel screaming, gunfire echoing, Voss's distorted voice saying, You should have stayed buried. The irony wasn't lost on me. Apparently, I'm irresistible to people who prefer their victims buried. Rachel sat on the couch across from me, knees drawn up, blanket around her shoulders. He won't stop, Marcus. Voss doesn't lose. He's too careful. Then he hasn't met me, I said. Her voice cracked. This isn't a boardroom war. No, I said, sipping my bourbon. This is better. Fewer suits, higher stakes. Lydia joined us, dragging her chair closer. So I traced Voss's activity. He's using a rotating VPN that hops between data centers. Clever bastard, but one location popped up twice. A shipping facility near Brickell Key. Private security, unregistered operations, and, wait for it, registered under a shell company tied to the same offshore network Patricia used. Leo whistled. So Mommy Dearest and the Phantom Hacker were business partners. Looks that way, Lydia said. I think Voss set up the entire Harper operation. Patricia was the face. He was the architect. Rachel's face went pale. He used her and me. Yeah, I said. And now he's trying to finish the cleanup. Lydia leaned forward, grinning the kind of grin people get before doing something stupid and brilliant. So let's finish it first. Please don't say what I think you're about to say, Leo muttered. She ignored him. We lure him again. Controlled environment. He wants the key. We make him think he's got it. Then we catch him in the act. Rachel looked horrified. You want to use me as bait? Lydia shook her head. No. Marcus will be the bait. Voss doesn't trust anyone but himself. If he thinks Marcus has the drive, he'll come. Leo groaned. Why do our plans always start with the phrase if he thinks? It never ends well. I smiled. Relax. I've been waiting to have a word with this guy anyway. We set the trap for Friday night. Lydia booked the hotel's private lounge under a dummy event, Blockchain Integrity Symposium. Nothing draws crooks faster than buzzwords and hors d'oeuvres. I'd be the main act, laptop on the table, pretending to decrypt the real wallet drive. Rachel would stay in the control room with Lydia, monitoring every move through the surveillance grid. Leo, against all logic, volunteered for crowd control. Because nothing says professionalism like me holding a champagne tray and a stun gun, he said. You're a natural multitasker, Lydia replied. When Friday came, the tension in the air was so thick it could have been sold as a product. I sat in the empty lounge at 9 p.m., fake drive plugged in, whiskey in hand. Lydia's voice crackled in my earpiece. Camera's live. You've got 15 security feeds, and I've got eyes on every door. Any sign of our guest? I asked. Not yet, but he'll show. Guys like Voss can't resist proving they're smarter than everyone else. She wasn't wrong. 15 minutes later, the back door clicked open. A figure slipped in, black hoodie, gloves, face mask. Voss. He moved with precision, like a ghost that had done this dance 100 times. His gun was drawn but lowered. Mr. Dillard, he said, voice distorted again. You're becoming a nuisance. I get that a lot, I replied. Drink. He didn't laugh. You have something that belongs to me. I tapped the drive. You mean this? Funny. I thought it belonged to the people you stole it from. Ownership is just a story we tell ourselves, he said. You of all people should understand that. I leaned back. You sound like every tech bro who tanked a startup and called it philosophy. He stepped closer. Hand it over. Lydia's voice whispered in my ear. Keep him talking. I tilted my head. What's in it for me? Your life. Tempting, I said, but I've already been through one fake funeral. Kind of ruins the novelty. His eyes narrowed. You think this is a game? I think it's poetic, I said. You built an empire on lies, and now you're trying to bury the only people who know the truth. Must be exhausting. He raised his gun. I don't get tired. Good, I said, smirking. Because this might take a while. I hit the signal on my watch. Instantly, the lights cut out, replaced by emergency red glow. The door sealed. Leo's voice crackled through the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Blockchain Symposium after party. Chaos. Voss spun toward the sound. I dove behind the bar as Lydia activated the strobe jammer, flooding the cameras with white light. 2 FBI agents disguised as bartenders tackled Voss from behind, but the man moved like he'd rehearsed it. He slammed one agent into the counter, fired a shot that shattered a bottle 2 inches from my face, and bolted for the back door. On him, Lydia shouted. I sprinted after him through the corridor, adrenaline punching through my veins. He darted into the service hallway, firing once. The bullet clipped the wall beside my head. I ducked, grabbed a fallen extinguisher, and threw it. It hit him square in the ribs. He staggered, dropping his gun. I lunged, slammed him against the wall. The mask slipped just enough for me to see his eyes, sharp, gray, and cold as steel filings. "You don't get to vanish again," I growled. He sneered. "You think arresting me will change anything? I'm not your villain, Dillard. I'm your reflection." I tightened my grip. "My reflection pays taxes." He smirked, and for a second, I saw the arrogance that powered his entire empire. Then Lydia and the agents reached us, guns drawn. "Don't move, Voss." He froze, eyes flicking to Rachel, who had followed them down the hallway despite my earlier stay-put order. Of course she had. "Rachel," he said softly, almost kindly, "they'll never let you walk away. Not after everything. You and I both know how this ends." Rachel's voice shook. "Yeah," she said, "with you in handcuffs." She swung the stun baton Leo had given her and hit him square in the chest. Voss convulsed, then collapsed like a marionette with cut strings. Leo whistled. "Damn. Remind me never to piss you off." Rachel dropped the baton, shaking. I walked over, checking Voss's pulse. He was alive, barely. Lydia exhaled. "And that's checkmate." The FBI agents cuffed him and read him his rights. I just stood there, adrenaline fading, staring down at the man who'd turned my life into a chessboard. "Justice, huh?" I muttered. "Didn't think it would look this messy." Lydia grinned. Justice always looks better with sarcasm. By the next morning, Voss was in federal custody, the missing funds secured, and Rachel officially cleared of all charges. The Department of Justice released a statement calling it one of the largest recovery operations in cyberfraud history. Leo got a PR award from the Hotel Association for handling a crisis with grace. He framed it next to his bottle of scotch. As for me, I got my money back, $270 million of it, anyway. The rest was still tangled in legal bureaucracy, which is just theft in slower motion. Rachel met me one last time before she left for witness protection. She looked better, lighter somehow. "Thank you," she said quietly. "For everything." I nodded. "Don't thank me. I just didn't want my obituary to have a sequel." She smiled sadly. "You still can't forgive me, can you?" "Forgiveness is like Bitcoin," I said. "Volatile. Not worth investing in right now." She laughed softly, turned, and walked away. And as I watched her go, I realized that for the first time in years, I wasn't chasing ghosts anymore. I'd caught them. I'd buried them. And this time, no one was faking it. 6 months after the whole fake wife, stolen millions, cybercriminal shootout saga, life got weirdly normal. Which, in my world, means no one's tried to bury me alive or siphon my bank account before breakfast. I still wake up at 5 a.m. out of habit, part CEO discipline, part trauma reflex. And there's this one quiet moment before coffee where I almost convince myself it was all just a fever dream. Then my phone dings with another lawyer email reminding me that I still technically own 3 yachts I never bought. And reality slaps me like a tax audit. Miami had gone back to being Miami. Tourists with sunburns, influencers doing yoga on rooftops, Leo trying to trademark the phrase Hotel of Justice before Netflix could. The Riviera Grand had recovered faster than my mental health. They sold out every weekend after the crypto scandal showdown. Apparently, nothing sells luxury suites like a federal raid. Me? I'd gone home. Back to Chicago. Back to steel gray skies and an apartment that didn't smell like ocean salt or guilt. But I wasn't the same Marcus Dillard who left. That guy was a polished ghost wearing $1,000 suits and denial cologne. The new me had calluses from rebuilding. Not physically, of course, because manual labor and I are natural enemies, but mentally, emotionally, and, yeah, financially. The first thing I did when I got back was sit in the old Ardent Systems office. Empty desks, dust on the monitors, the faint echo of arguments about algorithms and deadlines. That company built my fortune and destroyed my peace in equal measure. So I started something new, Lazarus Labs. I named it that partly because irony's free branding and partly because I figured I'd earned the right to use a resurrection metaphor. The tagline? Because everyone deserves a second life. Even the website looked like revenge in motion, sleek black theme, white font, minimalist design. Lydia came on board as my cybersecurity director because if anyone could keep hackers out, it was the woman who once hacked an FBI server for sport. Leo became head of operations, mostly because I needed someone who could talk investors out of suing me when I ignored their calls. The concept was simple, blockchain-based identity verification to prevent financial fraud. It was poetic justice. I was literally building technology that could have prevented my own ruin. Nothing screams growth like turning your trauma into a business model. We launched quietly. No press conferences, no champagne. Just code, coffee, and cautious optimism. 6 months in, we'd partnered with 3 major banks, 5 government agencies, and a few private firms that liked our anti-fraud credibility. Translation: they liked that I'd been screwed over on a global scale and lived to tell the tale. One afternoon, Lydia stormed into my office holding a cup of espresso like a weapon. "You know what's insane?" she said. "Our beta test just flagged a fake passport ring in Brussels. Real human trafficking front. You basically just ruined someone's evil career before lunch." "See," I said, grinning. "Therapy's overrated. Just start a company that ruins criminals instead." Leo walked in next, wearing sunglasses indoors because apparently running a successful hotel made him allergic to humility. "By the way, bro," he said, "CNN just called. They want to do a follow-up story. You know, from betrayal to blockchain. The Marcus Dillard redemption arc." I groaned. "No. Come on," he said. "You're hot news. You're the guy who turned his ex-wife's fake death into innovation." That tagline makes me sound like a lunatic. "You are a lunatic," Lydia said, sipping her coffee. "But you're a rich one, so it's fine." I leaned back in my chair. "I'm not doing interviews. I'm done performing tragedy for clicks." Leo sighed dramatically. "Fine. But when they cast the movie version, I'm getting played by Michael B. Jordan." "You're white," Lydia pointed out. "Details," he said. "That's the thing about surviving betrayal. You don't come out clean. You come out smarter, colder, and with a dark sense of humor that scares normal people. Every board meeting feels like a chess game now. Every contract clause gets triple-checked. I even stopped shaking hands unless I've Googled your entire family tree. Trust isn't gone. It's just on probation. Rachel, she's in Oregon. Witness protection, therapy, new name, new everything. I don't know her address. I don't want to. Sometimes I get anonymous postcards, blank, no return stamp, just a drawing of a little bluebird. It was her favorite symbol back when we were married. Meant freedom, peace, or something equally poetic. The first time I got one, I almost threw it away. Then I taped it inside my desk drawer. A quiet reminder that ghosts can heal too. People ask if I still love her. The truth? I don't know. Love doesn't just vanish, it mutates. It becomes a scar you stop noticing until someone touches it. I don't hate her anymore. Hate takes too much energy, and I need that energy for lawsuits and caffeine. But forgiveness? That's a work in progress. One rainy evening, Lydia found me staring at the Chicago skyline, nursing a drink that could have dissolved paint. "You okay?" she asked. I smirked. "Define okay. You're brooding again. It's bad for business." "I'm reflecting," I said. "Reflecting is just brooding with better PR." She sat beside me, laptop balanced on her knee. "You did good, Marcus. Most people crumble after what you went through. You built something better." "Yeah," I said quietly. "But I still built it from ashes." She looked at me, serious for once. "Ashes make strong foundations. Just don't forget to live on them." The silence after that wasn't awkward, it was grounding. Lydia wasn't the sentimental type, which made her advice hit harder. A few weeks later, I stood on stage at our first investor conference. Big screens, bright lights, audience of suits and skeptics. I hated public speaking, but Leo said it was brand rehabilitation. I looked out at the crowd and started. 6 months ago, I was broken, and briefly considered faking my own death just to stay competitive. But instead, I built this. The room laughed. Good start. We live in a world where truth can be forged, money can vanish, and people can disappear. But technology, used right, can hold everyone accountable. Lazarus Labs isn't about revenge. It's about resurrection. About proving that you can come back from anything, even from being buried by the people you trusted most. When I stepped off the stage, Leo handed me a glass of champagne. "See? Told you. Redemption arc." I grinned. "You're still not getting Michael B. Jordan." By the time the applause faded, I realized something. I'd finally stopped waiting for life to apologize. That night, back in my apartment, I sat at my desk with a fresh bottle of bourbon and too many thoughts. The city lights blinked through the rain like Morse code for "don't screw this up again." My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Then I saw the message. "You did it. Proud of you. No name. No punctuation. Rachel. For a second, I didn't breathe. Then I typed back one word. Alive. No response. Maybe there didn't need to be. I closed the phone, poured another drink, and leaned back, feeling the quiet hum of the city below me. Rebuilding doesn't mean pretending nothing broke. It means learning how to stand on cracked ground and still smile. I wasn't the man I used to be. The naive dreamer who thought love was immune to greed. The corporate optimist who believed everyone could be trusted with the right contract. That man died the day Rachel's car crashed. But the one sitting here now? He'd built something out of the wreckage. Something real. Before heading to bed, I opened my laptop and scrolled through Lazarus Labs' homepage. At the top, our new motto flashed in clean white letters. From the ashes, verify the living. It made me laugh. Lydia wrote it as a joke, but it stuck. Maybe that's the secret. You don't rebuild to erase the past. You rebuild to remind yourself that you're still standing. And for the first time in 2 years, I wasn't haunted by ghosts. I was one of the living again. 1 year later, I stood in the atrium of the Dillard Innovation Hub, watching my team toast to the grand opening. Reporters clicked cameras, investors smiled like they hadn't ghosted me 6 months ago, and Leo was already flirting with a venture capitalist who could buy his hotel twice over. It was surreal. The same city that once watched me fall was now here to applaud my resurrection. Lazarus Labs had evolved beyond code and algorithms. It had become proof that ruin isn't the end, it's the edit. We'd built technology that could trace, verify, and expose digital fraud in seconds. Irony really is the best business model. Lydia walked up beside me, holding a glass of champagne. You did it, she said. No, I said, clinking my glass against hers. We did it. You're the one who figured out how to make blockchain sexy. She laughed. Please. You're the trauma story people can't stop watching. She wasn't wrong. My inbox was full of book deals and documentary pitches. The man who outsmarted death had a nice ring to it, but I'd had enough of being someone's headline. I just wanted peace, not the quiet kind, but the earned kind. A few feet away, Rachel's name came up in conversation. Someone asked if I'd heard from her lately. I smiled and said, she's alive. That was all I ever needed to say. She'd done her time in purgatory. She deserved her peace too. When the speeches started, Leo took the mic first. Ladies and gentlemen, my brother Marcus taught me 3 things. Never fake your death, never trust crypto bros, and always get everything in writing. The crowd laughed. I raised my glass. Then it was my turn. I stepped up to the podium, lights in my face, memories in my chest. A year ago, I said, I buried everything. My marriage, my company, my trust. I thought that was the end of my story. Turns out, it was just the reboot. I paused, scanning the crowd. Lydia grinned. Leo gave me a thumbs up. For the first time, I felt completely present. Not chasing ghosts, not surviving. Just living. We built Lazarus Labs to make sure no one could fake their way through life again. I continued. But somewhere along the way, I realized something else. Technology doesn't rebuild people. People rebuild people. The applause hit like thunder. Cameras flashed. For once, I didn't mind being seen. Be he as the night wound down, I stepped out onto the balcony. The city glowed below, alive, relentless, honest in its noise. I thought about Rachel, about everything we lost, everything we found, and smiled. Because after all that, I wasn't just a survivor. I was living proof. And this time, no one was faking it.